A while back I did a video about playing 50-year-old cassette tapes, and since then I've collected quite a few more of them. In fact, an entire ugly imitation alligator skin case full of them. These are all from the late 60s and early 70s, and they all predate the standardization of the Philips plastic clamshell style case. So they have a variety of different case styles. Many of them have what is known as a snap case, which opens like that and snaps shut. Some of them have what is known as a slide case, because the tape slides in from the side through an opening. And some of them even have a cardboard case, like that. I could go through those, but instead I now have a collection of cassette tapes which are over 50 years old and are still sealed in their original shrink wrap, have never been opened or played. I have one tape here from 1970, and all the rest of them are from 1969. I'm going to unwrap these, see if they're still in playable condition, and if they are, I'll give you a little sample of what they sound like. Since the wrapping on this one is starting to fray a little bit, I might as well start with it. Ray Charles Doing His Thing from 1969. Open it up. There's a cassette inside. I got my official cassette tape winder, and it does appear to be freely rotating, so the tape hasn't gotten sticky. And it looks like that pressure pad is still intact. Sometimes on these, if you slap it around a little bit, that thing just falls out because the glue holding it into the spring has come loose, but that does not seem to be the case with this one. So this one should be perfectly playable. And one unique thing about these old cassettes is that they often rearrange the tracks to make the two sides as equal in length as possible. So for example, on the LP version of this album, the second side starts with "We Can Make It," but on the cassette they moved that to the end of side one just to make the two sides more equal in length.
She used to belong to my best friend. He asked me to quit her so he could get her again. I told him, finders keepers and losers weepers, and I ain't gonna quit her, so he better forget her. That's it.
Next is Harper's Bazaar with the album Harper's Bazaar 4. I guess that was their fourth album. And we can start peeling off the shrink wrap. And this one, let's see if it spins, and yes it does. Looks like that pressure pad isn't coming out either, so this one should be playable as well. And the strange thing of the track layout on this one, it starts out with the same song as the LP version, Soft Sound and Music, but then they took all the songs from side 2 of the record and put that onto side 1, and then all the other songs that would have been on side 1 are now on side 2. So they more radically rearranged the tracks, again to make the two sides as equal in length as possible.
It's like thunder, lightning. The way you kiss me is frightening. I better not.
And here is Peter, Paul, and Mary with their first children's album from 1969, Peter, Paul, and Mommy. So we can unwrap this one. Open it up. See if it's moving smoothly, and yes it is. And it doesn't look like that pressure pad is going to fall out either, so it looks like these tapes should all be in good shape. And unlike the previous cassettes I showed, on this one the track layout is an exact duplicate of the vinyl record version, including the two sides not being of the same length. So there's actually a couple minutes of blank tape at the end of side 2.
Oh, Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn in a land called Honolulu.
Also from 1969, we have The World of Mantovani, a popular easy listening artist at the time. And this one, you can unwrap it. Open it up. Oh, that one, you can see the pad is falling out, so I will need to re-glue that. I'm sure if I tap on it a little bit, it'll just fall out. So I'll definitely repair that before I attempt to play it. But otherwise, the tape does appear to be freely moving. So a little bit of re-gluing of that pad, and it should be good to go. And here's how I reattach the pressure pad of a cassette tape. First, I rewind it all the way to the beginning until the clear leader is showing. Then I take a pair of tweezers and carefully pull out a little bit of that leader. And there you can see the pad just fell out entirely. And I just put a little drop of old-fashioned slow-drying clear glue on that metal spring. And now it's just a matter of carefully reinstalling that pressure pad onto the spring. Trying to get it straight and in the middle. And you just give it a few light taps to make sure it's in the right place. And that looks good. And you just let that sit and dry. And the strange thing they did with the track layout on this is they swapped the two sides. They didn't rearrange any of the tracks, but what would be side 1 of the record is side 2 of the tape, and vice versa. I don't know why they did that. Another one from 1969, Solomon Burke with Proud Mary. Okay, let's see if this one is in good shape. It is rotating. And it looks like that pad is not falling out, so we should be good to go with this one. And this is another one where the track layout is an exact duplicate of the LP version. All the songs are in the same order and on the same sides.
Big wheels keep on turning, and a proud Mary keeps on burning. Y'all just rolling, rolling, rolling on the real ride.
And finally, the newest one of the bunch, from 1970, we have Don Ho's Greatest Hits. It is rotating freely, and the pad is not falling out, so another one that should be fine to play. And again, the strange thing they did with this, they swapped the two sides. The LP version starts out with his biggest hit, Tiny Bubbles, on side 1, but on this one, they moved that to side 2 for some reason.
All right, here we go, gang. Pearly shell, from the ocean, shining in the sun, covering the shore.
As for how much these tapes would have cost back in 1969 or 1970, back then the going price for most music albums on cassette tape was $5.95, which was about the same as the list price of many vinyl records. However, vinyl records were commonly deeply discounted, often to half their list price, so it's quite possible that one of these cassette tapes could have ended up costing twice as much as the vinyl record equivalent. And it's interesting to see just how long it took cassettes to catch on, because Philips invented the cassette in 1963. In 1964, it was introduced in North America. A few years later, they added stereo and began producing pre-recorded music cassettes. By the early 70s, portable cassette players and recorders were already becoming common, but most people associate cassettes with the 1980s with the Sony Walkman and its many imitators such as this Panasonic, and that's really due to this stupid thing, the 8-track tape. Blame it on Bill Lear and American automotive companies who adopted this as their format of choice, even though nobody ever liked it. It's funny how these things are virtually unknown in other parts of the world, but for some reason we decided to put up with 8-tracks here in the US until disco and bell-bottoms went out of style, and then we all switched to cassettes, which was definitely the right choice.
For